Open Data Initiative of Government of India. Just to give you a brief about from where I come and what we do. I belong to an organization called National Informatics Center, which is under Ministry of Electronics and IT. So anything that you see in India which is digitized, be it the exam results, be it the driving license, be it the passport, immigration, or networking up to the districts and blocks, this is the organization which does it. I wear the cap of heading Open Government Data Initiative from NIC, as well as MyGov platform, which is the largest crowdsourcing platform where we discuss about government policies, initiatives from the public, take ideas from them and then implement the same. And I also head the procurement of the government, e-procurement, as well as the immigration, which is taken care by NIC. With this, I will start about the Open Government Data Initiative. As we all know, you being in this field research, no one will know better than you that the value of data is. Whether we talk of data in silos or data being exchanged between departments, divisions, country, domain, it has a huge impact. And once we start using the data, for instance in India, if you just take the demographic data, your name, your date of birth, your place, that itself, place of birth, that itself is very important. And with that, you can verify that you are an Indian, you belong to which area, and you can start availing services, whether it is Aadhaar or whether it is passport or any of these services. And once you avail these services, you will be needing to keep these certificates somewhere, so you put it in a DigiLocker. So this is the potential of data across, or whether it is the payment. Now in India we have complete payment through UPI, which we had been hearing, cards, credit cards. Now you don't have to carry anything. Your phone is all that you need. Link your bank, and through the Google Pay or through any of the UPI handles, you can make the payment. So this is the power of data being used all across, whether it is to improve the performance or boost the economy or for a social impact. This is its benefits and potential. Now if I talk of the leading sectors in our country, education. So there you are, you researchers, education is the prime. Once you open up your research, your work, your information, we can collaborate and do wonders. Then comes the transportation. So your road planning, your congestion, your police deployment, vehicles, everything can be planned once the transportation opens up. Then comes the consumer products, electricity, oil and gas. This is the major 5 sectors which actually can boost the economy of a country. Now, I need not talk about emerging technologies. I was just talking to Dr. Devika. Library science was way ahead before computer science actually came up. Whether you talk of cataloging or you talk of taxonomy or using AI, it was all there. So now we talk of AI to boost training models with publicly available data sets. But you did it long back. Internet of Things. Now if I talk of smart cities, all the planning is done through IoT devices, whether it is smart metering, smart roads being built or anything like that. Space technology, healthcare are all emerging using open data to a large extent. It democratizes, brings in innovation, and reduces duplication if you open it up, and strengthens evidence-based policy making. Now, this is again a policy which was in place way back in 2012, and this was done by no one else but Department of Science and Technology, which said National Data Sharing and Access Policy. So this said that all government taxpayers' money which is being used for collecting any of the data should be made available in open, which doesn't need to have proprietary licenses, which doesn't need to have, you don't need to take permission. Use this data, derive value, and come out with applications based on this government data. Now, if you see this, I said even make value out of the data which was publicly available by the ministry department, so one would like to commercialize this data over the applications that they have built. As a result, the government open data license came up, which said any value add that an individual or a company does over government data can be sold, provided you acknowledge the ministry department, the source to which the data belongs, and the data consumers take it at their own risk. So this is the ecosystem. You have in one place the government or the public funded organizations which collect data based in silos, files, records, websites. So if that is available and you put it on a portal, any portal for that matter, which is open for end user to consume through an API or through taking down the data set, to value add, to visualize, you can grow and have more potential over it. And at the moment on data.gov.in, which is the Government of India's open data platform, more than 6 lakhs data sets are available, and we have got a huge community around it working. It was not an easy task, as you all know. Opening data for public use is quite difficult. So what we did is, we realized technology can only be a facilitator. Each department has got a senior level officer who spearheads this initiative in his or her department, and they are called Chief Data Officers. They are the champions for their domain, and they see that the data is released on this platform for people to use. And this is just a snapshot of how the portal looks like. We have got catalogs which has resources, that is the data sets. You can visualize any of the data that is available there. You can download and use it through an API also, and you can mash up data and come up with your own data journalism or your own analysis. And these are some of the features which the portal gives. Immediately you can convert on the fly any data from one format to another format as per your use. We give widget, like suppose you're having a website of agriculture. So any data which is shared on this platform by any government organization at any level, whether it is the state or the center or the block level, will be made available to you through a code you embed it in your website, and the data will seamlessly start coming on your website. So you can even mark the high value data sets. We have another very important method of engaging with data. Suppose you're looking for some education data which is not available on this portal, you can ask for the same. And once we cross 50 such requests, we send it to the Chief Data Officer of Education Department to release that data, and they do release it. So you can then pull the requirement that you have by pushing the government to release that data. Now these are some of the state instances which are running on open data. 100 smart cities are also on the same instances. So all the smart cities are on data.gov.in instances, and we have a lot of community built across the data sets which are released. Now this, I would say, is a byproduct. Once you release the data, sky is the limit. Now whether you want a developer to develop an app, or you want a visualization to be done, or you want, some mashups to be created, leave it to the community. They will use your data and derive meaning out of it, be it through a hackathon or be it through their own source. So these are some of the community engagements, and even our ministry, which is called Administrative Reforms and Public Grievance Department, has run a hackathon in which, the mandate of this department is any complaint of a citizen needs to land to the right department so that their complaint is addressed and you get a solution. Now, this is a huge task. As you know, India is a huge country. Across the country, we have got 3 layers of governance. We have something at the center, something at the state, something at the district, and now even below that, blocks. So now to reach the complaint to the right domain and get a resolution is a huge task. So what DRPG did is they had a hackathon. They opened all this in a restricted mode on the portal, and they used emerging technology and AI to build solutions that, holding the keywords, which ministry it belongs to. Suppose you say the train is late or something, or I did not get good meal in the train. So this necessarily has to go to the Railways Ministry, and it will be pushed to the Railways Ministry. They have a matrix defined of where it should land, and it goes and lands on that desk. So this is a hackathon that they did through the open data, and it has been all, now they've got the winners, 3 of them, they will be awarding them. GSTN is again for taxes. They are also running a hackathon. There are a number of use cases. I won't take much time on that where you can use the data to come up with meaningful applications. Now, pertaining to research, we have seen that data which has been opened up has also been used for number of research activities, be it AgriIntel or AgriMind. So we've given the URL. You can later, my presentation will be shared, and you can see there are a lot of companies using the data. Now, if I talk of rainfall data, if I talk of soil fertility data, once you open it up, you can do a lot of prediction, analysis, preventive actions can be taken. All these companies are using data in some way or the other. Now, what is that the key initiative of CSIR? I don't think I need to speak about it. You've done a lot of work, lot of research, journals, participation is there. My only request is, if they are put on open format, I know you are doing it in your open research portals, but if it comes to data.gov.in, a lot of more, meaningful interactions, collaborations can go on. Now, what is the way forward? That after this, what? Everything can't be opened up. So the way forward that Government of India is thinking is to have something called Bharat. Bharat is India, Bharat Exchange. That means everything cannot be open. I understand. So if you need to restrict that access, while things which can be in open will remain as an open data, but the things which are restricted or registered or needs to be commercialized, whether it is a company's information or something like that, through a license given to only restricted people, it can all go through an exchange. That means while open data remains on data.gov.in, anything else comes to the Bharat Exchange, and through the smart license, you can exchange data between departments, between institutions. So this is what now we are working on, and we talk of authentication and sharing the data with the right people, the amount of data that one wants to share. That is, there's going to be a data provider and there is going to be a data consumer. There will be a smart agreement. As per the provider's agreement, the data consumer will consume the data. Now I'll just talk of access model, and 2 more minutes after that. Now access model can be something like a premium user, a standard user, and a free user, something like that, I would say. So if it is a premium user, you decide to share everything with that user, you will charge, say, X amount. So that X amount is actually your license fee, and your access model is something as premium or gold or some name that you want to give, and you will give everything to the end user if they pay that subscription. And if you say it is something as standard, so the standard means you will only give X amount of your data for limited period of time and for lesser money. So that becomes standard access. And if you say basic, so basic can even be open access. So you have something as open, registered and restricted, and according to that you can share your data across the government, across institutions, and together we can really make things happen and discover possibilities. Thank you.
Long live India and France friendship.